Today on Haz Armory, Army Bleep Ups Part 4. It just never ends.
So let's start off with this one. Obviously, there's something wrong here. The outer jacket for the cable is missing. It's about 4 feet of it, I think, was gone. You usually get small little breaks and not huge chunks like this. This had not been maintained in quite a while. And you can see the one of the lines, I think it's the white, the B line, is getting loose, and it would break at some point anyway. So this is a cable replacement. But please never let it get this bad. If you have a couple breaks in the cable jacket, get it fixed. You have a shorter resolder the head back on, replace if you have to, because this stuff only gets worse and worse and worse, and you have the entire cable like this out. It was amazing. It still worked. Now this one, the clamp is in the correct spot, but the screws are in the wrong spot. They're supposed to come in from the outside, not the inside. There are little recesses for the heads to go in. So it would do the job, but it's not in the right place. In fact, it was a little hard to get the casing open because the head of the screws were sticking in there. And then we have the opposite side where the screw's in the right place, but the clamp is upside down. The little notch in the center goes over the cable. So right place, it closed easily enough, but the clamp needs to be flipped over to the correct orientation. This one, not an over bad repair. I mean, it still worked. The problem was that the wires are kind of almost not stuck in there. I mean, the solder should cover the wire entirely to make sure it's got a good connection. That white one in the middle especially is just barely hanging on. Now this one actually is referenced in the future video. This is a self-done stenciling. The color's correct, the sizing's good. The problem is, instead of stenciling it with dye sublimation or paint, it was done by iron-on vinyl letters. So, of course, it was a huge dead spot anywhere it was. You can see, if you look at the vinyl is starting to come up. The head tech was able to save this lame. Took some work. This is why I always say, when you have a stencil lame, take it to someone who knows what they're doing, please. And back to soldering for a moment. This one, totally wrong. The soldering is more like a suggestion than actual work done. I mean, there's not even any wire going through those holes, and the holes are barely holding onto the solder. Again, another one, I'm amazed it even worked. But it's after 6 now, but that was just bad. The little plastic disc in the back. On the top of that disc is a Velcro strap going to the Velcro receiving strap that's on the underside of the very top of the mask. Yet here's what I saw that was brought to me, and you see the comparison. Absolutely no freaking way. Missing the plastic disc, missing the strap from the disc to the top of Velcro receiver. This is being held on only by the back strap. There's not even a tongue coming down to hold it in place. So the kid's coach said, his coach said that was okay. News for the coach, no, it's not okay. That is a clear safety risk on the primary bit of safety gear. The stuff's there for a reason. Please make sure all the parts are there, especially on the Leon Paul, where it's such a different kind of retaining system than a traditional tongued mask. Something else that happens when you do no maintenance on your reels. This Tomo Favero. That is one of the worst cable guides I've ever seen. I don't know how he got 4 separate holes around the main one. It's just shoot all the hell. Fortunately, the cable, as I recall, was not in bad shape, but this guide is just awful. Just check the cable guides. You should start getting worn and have it replaced. This one, there's like lots of wire there and no insulation. No insulation whatsoever aside from what's already on the wire. So yeah, that was a That was immediate a fix right there. So I was wondering, why is it grounding out? Because insulation's missing. Now this one is a manufacturer issue, I think, as I recall, was the first repair. And this is, the wires used a little bit more. They're barely catching the screws. There's a reason why I strip a little bit more wire when I'm making a cable or rewiring a cable, repairing a body cord rather. So this is just, I would have made the strip a little bit longer to make sure there's enough wire for the screw to grab onto and not pop out, which is what happened. This is kind of what can happen when you leave your gear in a wet or corrosive environment. This socket bracket was all gunged up, not just the rust you see on it. There's also rust and corrosion on the underside of the bracket where it meets the guard, so that's why it was not closing circuit. It was actually insulating the circuit and keeping it open. The C line is not missing. I actually had to take it out. That's the B line. And I had to take the whole thing apart and sand it down big time to get it clean to the point where it functioned, because I didn't want to buy a new socket. But this should never get this bad. If it's starting to get corroded like that, the circuit's not going to work. No, this is not a repair. This is how the weapon came to me. If you look at the top of the barrel on the past the right side, it's a split. It's split right down from the top, more than halfway down. That's an immediate rewire, because that thing is being held together by the tape at this point. Not so much an armory screw up, but I think that he didn't realize it had split and was wondering why it was getting random off target, so why the tip was loose and rattling around. And that's why, because the barrel split. And last, but certainly not least, these beauties. This is laid down by a college team who should know better because they've laid strips before. The issue is not the miles of tape over the Oman reels or the fact that the Vivero's taped down. The issue is the fact that the strips are going, as you're looking at it, vertically from top to bottom. And the reels are oriented from side to side. So instead of going straight out, the cable is making an immediate 90-degree turn, which ain't going to work. And I don't know why in the bloody hell they thought this is the right way to set them up. Every single reel at this term was set up that way. I wanted to grab my saber and slap them. Just, oh my God. Ugh. This is what I have to deal with sometimes. People who have, it's not out of ignorance, it's out of just not caring. And it pisses me off. So please pay attention to how stuff goes down, guys. If you've been fencing for a couple of years, you know how this stuff's laid out. Oi, happy armoring.